leading actually a pretty big industrial company. I mean, it's like almost $2.5 billion revenue this year, in combination with having deep local roots, having a very family focused and strong culture that is built on humility, built on sustainability, built on treating people well. That's just something that I really like and I can identify with. And that's also what I kind of hold dear in the way I work with my own team.
Hey folks, Sven Nelson here, C2C Resources, also known as the guy that gets you paid. I'm joined by my guest, Clemens Bauer. Clemens, I was hoping that you could introduce yourself a little bit to the group. Tell us about what you do and who you are.
Hey Sven, thanks for having me. Appreciate being on here. As you said, I'm Clemens Bauer. I'm the CFO of Knapp North America, Knapp Inc., one of the leading automation, robotics, warehouse automation providers here in North America and actually in the world. And again, thanks for having me on this podcast.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, let me ask you what drove you into the finance world? I was reading on your resume that you are actually in the engineering field for a long time.
Well, actually, it's a good question. And to be honest, I don't really know. I think just things happen, your life happens. Um, as you said, I'm a trained engineer. I went to an engineering high school. I did my undergrad in mechanical engineering, did my master's in technology management. Once I figured out that engineering is nice, but machines don't talk, and I really like people. Um, and after quite a long stint in strategy consulting, it turned out that I'm actually still quite good with numbers. And I guess that's how I kind of came into that niche. A few years later, I'm calling myself CFO.
There you
Turns out
go.
it's not rocket science, and we build rockets. What I keep saying, but
So let me ask you, Clemens, did you have a mentor? Do you have a mentor now? Someone that's in your industry that you follow, or just someone that you really look up to in the CFO and accounting world?
um, let's put it like this. I definitely had a lot of mentors and sponsors, almost I want to say, throughout my career who helped me develop, who helped me pursue my interests, my visions, and so on. And that was true both in consulting, where I was very, very fortunate to work with partners and directors who really had my development in mind, was very interested in my development. In fact, my late last partner I worked with, he helped me find a position once we um, um, got to know each other very well, and I told him, look, I don't see myself in consulting for the rest of my life, and I always chose my positions, my jobs, based on the people I would work for.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I made good experience with that through my whole life, my whole career. And that's what I also did when I joined Knapp. I had got to know our group CFO, Christian Grabner, via a mutual acquaintance. And we were just sitting down talking about, business in general, life and whatnot. And we kind of came to the conclusion that it would be good for Knapp, for me to join, and it would be good for me to join Knapp. Um, we didn't really have a profile or a job defined back then. It was more like we're growing very fast. We just don't have enough internal capacity and human capital, I want to say, and bandwidth to support this growth. And some external stimulus would help us. We didn't define a clear role and clear targets in the beginning. We just went with it. And the first couple of years, they just threw projects at me, like the global board, and I kind of grew with the challenge, I would say. And that's how life works, I guess.
That's absolutely right. So. What do you think it is that people misunderstand most about the CFO role, being over accounting and how you guys
Mm,
spend money and
mm,
manage money?
mm. So my role is even a bit broader than just being a CFO. So we yes, the finance part is obviously a very material part, but we kind of try to emulate our group structure also here in the US. And I also look at HR. It's in my development, the whole enterprise development section, and our internal IT systems. And while that sounds a bit, well, that's not a typical CFO task. Actually, it is, because what I learned is most challenges we're facing is not so much in tools and the complexity of the topic itself. It is really about change management and getting the people to follow you and steering a huge like ocean line in the right direction. And I think that's also the main challenge and difference in what people perceive a CFO to be, versus the actual job. It's not so much about being the controlling finance, accounting experts. Yes, that's like 2% of my job, literally. The main complexity of my job is helping my team succeed, helping my team to see the wood for the trees, so to say.
Yeah.
And giving them the ability and helping them to zoom out sometimes and actually understand the bigger picture better, and giving them the background and the foundation to do their best work, so to say. So and I think that's a big difference to where people come from a strong finance background and really focusing on the fundamentals in finance. Yes, it's a part of it, but it's not what makes a company and what makes a CFO succeed, in my experience.
So you're telling me that you have a lot to do with the culture there, and you're really a big advocate for the culture and how that really comes about within the organization.
Correct. That's exactly it.
No, that's awesome. I think that's an admirable quality for sure. So, what's made you inspired about working with Knapp and
Mm.
what you guys do there?
So to maybe give some background. So I come from well, for Austrian standards, pretty big town, from Graz, second biggest city in Austria. In global standards, a small town in the middle of nowhere, like 250,000 and 300,000 people. But it happens to be one of the, I would say, technology and automation hubs of the world, almost. So Knapp's been around as long as I can remember. It's one of the big employers in the city, and I always had them kind of on my radar. But I moved abroad for my studies when I was like 20 or so. So I was gone for a while, and when I came back and wanted to move back home, so to say, um, well, it turned out a Knapp also developed over the time, and they're actually a pretty cool company, and I love the values that I have are shared by the company. They're family owned. They are very, very much entrenched in the local community. They're very growth focused, which has been what I've been doing before in my previous career in consulting. Um, and I think this combination of being actually a pretty big industrial company, I mean, it's like almost $2.5 billion revenue this year,
Hmm.
in combination with having deep local roots, having a very family focused and strong culture that is built on humility, built on sustainability, built on treating people well. That's just something that I really like and I can identify with. And that's also what I kind of hold dear in the way I work with my own team.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. So, obviously, I run a collection agency here. People hire me to collect on bad accounts, but what are three levers that a CFO can pull on to improve cash flow almost immediately
Yeah.
in your role?
Um, and again, it comes down to what are the basics and finance fundamentals versus where does leadership come in. What I learn is that quite often it's not so much about companies not wanting to pay. It's quite often about companies not being able to pay, and able to pay as in misunderstandings. Accounting teams not aligned, a PO number is missing. Um, the invoice got sent to someone who is not in the company anymore, or who didn't forward it, or who is on vacation, you name it. There's some information missing because the number of the invoice doesn't align with what was communicated before. And just small, simple, kind of stupid topics, let's face it, that are completely preventable, but that hold up the process of invoices being paid days, weeks, sometimes months, actually. Um, and just having the ability to give you people the confidence and feeling, look, I'm not getting further here. I'm just stuck with this accountant from the other team, and we're just we're yelling at each other, but I'm stuck here. Can you please help me? being able to call maybe someone on the other side, hey, can we please look at that together and just see together this through? It's like, it's just bad for you, it's bad for us. Let's just get it fixed. I think that's a huge lever I learned to that improves our cash flow. Obviously, there's a lot of that's a pretty basic one, but there's a lot of internal technical solutions, just basically, getting your invoices out quicker, having a proper dunning process, having an automated escalation regimen, doing proper vendor, but also customer screening in terms of, Dun and Bradstreet, credit reports, yari yari, have all of that integrated in your payment platforms. That definitely helps too. But I want to say again, first and foremost, we're all people working with each other, and people are people are people.
Yes.
And yes, all these tools help, but they're just tools, And in the end, you just still need people to handle these tools. And the first measure that helps us is always just talk to the other side and try to find a common understanding.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, how do you balance the strategic vision with the day-to-day financial operations of the company, you think?
Yeah, also a good question. I recently had a LinkedIn post about that because I was thinking about it quite a lot, and I think it has a lot to do with, again, corporate culture, company culture. And I'm fortunate enough to work for a private company that follows like a public reporting scheme. So we do all the reporting that we would need as a public company, but
Uh-huh.
we're family owned, so we don't have to chase every quarterly KPI because our family is very long term oriented. And I think this long term orientation is what really helps to balance between long term strategic targets and you know um, KPIs, basic KPI chasing.
Uh-huh.
Um, I do see that a lot. See that a lot with I'm reading all kind of quarterly reports every quarter just because I'm interested in it, and I see a lot of short-term thinking, short-term, I would say not strategic but tactical moves that probably hurt these companies in the long term strategically. And we say, well, this is, I mean, I get why you did that, but probably I wouldn't have done that. I understand your motivation, though. You have to. Um,
Mhm.
and again, having the right ownership structure, having the right trust, having the right support by your owners, by your board, is definitely the key lever for that.
Absolutely. That's awesome. So, what's the best compliment that you've ever received throughout your career?
Hmm. Sounds odd, but so we do have these. We have a lot of folks that are working permanently on sites, right? That means they are permanently on a customer site 365 days a week, and those teams are like 110 people strong. So it's like almost like a small company.
Mm-hmm.
And over the past years, we realized we really need to get those people that won't be able to come to us to headquarters to really find our culture. We have to come to them and kind of bring our culture to them. Um, and going there and talking to our gray collar is like it's something between blue collar and white collar. It's like mechatronic engineers and so on. Talking to
Uh-huh.
those folks on the shop floor and understanding their pain points and needs really helps me always. And then it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, we did one of these tunnels on one of our sites, and one of the guys who was pretty new, like 1 year with us or so, came. It's so great that you guys came over. Finally I'm able to talk to someone, and you're actually pretty cool. And
Yeah.
it sounds very odd, and it doesn't sound like a big thing, but I think if someone that is, in an org chart, I don't know, 10 levels below you comes to you and say, well, actually, thanks for listening to me and thanks for trying to understand my problem. I acknowledge and I appreciate, you're not be able to fix everything for me because, you've got a problems too, but I really appreciate you listening to me and giving me the feeling that you understand me. That's a great thing. And I think that's what I was always striving for, like humble leadership in a way. And I think that the compliments like these are the ones that I value and appreciate the most.
I think that's fantastic. And that's a testament to the type of culture that you guys are running there because I think it's important that, executive leadership feel the pain that, those that are, doing the grunt work and making all the things happen there. They feel that you're there joining them, right? You're understanding the pain points that they go through. So that's awesome. I
And
agree.
it's not always easy. Let's face it, because first of all, sometimes we just don't see the pain points because we are too far away from the business. So we rely on our people to tell us what pains them. And sometimes we have to, there's different interests. What it is interest of one employee might not be in the interest of the company or in the bigger picture. In the end, we want to make sure that everyone keeps his job for years to come. And explaining their thought process, explaining what we're doing and why we're doing and or why we're not doing something, that's a huge challenge. And we're not perfect in it. God,
Sure.
no, we are definitely not, but we're trying at least, and I think that effort that's so important for every company.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you 100%. So let me ask you, Clemens, what's the best advice you've ever received throughout your career, you think?
Just always keep asking questions. Never take anything for granted or given. If you don't understand something, just keep asking. That's okay. Um, I think that's a big advice. Always be curious.
Yeah, no, curiosity is wonderful.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I think we should all question things a little more, honestly.
shit. And my best employees in finance world, they're not finance people. They're just one of my top controllers. He had an undergrad in physics. Well, turns out he's also good with numbers.
Yeah.
And you know, people like him, they just keep questioning things because you know that doesn't make any sense. Can you explain? And then, well, actually, you're right. It doesn't make any sense. Let's look into it. And they just don't let yourself stop by conventions and by, well, but this is what accounting says. Yes, of course, but not everything. Just question things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So let me ask you, what would your parents or your significant other describe? How would they describe what you do for a living?
that's that's a great question because I'm not 100% sure if my girlfriend fully understands what I'm doing. Um, and she would explain to her family that, well, he's a financial advisor. And literally they keep asking me for stock advice, which I honestly I cannot give because you know I
Yeah,
just can't. I'm not a trader. I'm not an expert on that. Um,
right.
I think that that describes quite well. My parents have a pretty good understanding. So my father used to be an economics professor, so he kind of knows what I'm doing.
Mhm.
Probably also one of my mentors, by the way, in that
Sure.
sense. But it's really, I just keep running the company, so to say.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's how my girlfriend would describe it.
She just knows you're important.
She just knows that I'm important, yeah, which is okay.
So, I think we talk a lot about our success in lives, right?
Mm,
Everybody has the success story. But I personally believe that we learn more from our failures.
mm,
And I want to ask you about a time where you failed throughout your career and you learned something for it. What was the most
mm,
valuable time or valuable lesson learned from a failure that you were part of?
mm. Um, I had a lot of failures, obviously, like I think all of us. And
Sure, all of us have.
again, as you said, it's failures are important. Failing is important. Getting up is even more important. Um, Especially in consulting, it's such a fast-paced world. Every 6, 8 weeks, you get a new project,
Hmm.
and not every time you click with your project manager, your client, or your partner, whatever, depending on your level. Um, and I do remember there was one project, somewhere in the middle of my tenure there. It was for who was it for? I think eBay back then. I mean, it's like 15 years ago, so I think that I can say that it was for eBay or eBay daughter. Um, and we just, my project manager and I, super nice guy. We got along well privately, but we just did not click. We did not click professionally. And I remember there was one evening, like long night, and she said, "Look, I don't know what to do, Clemens. This is just not going well." And I remember I was literally like in panic attacks back then, failing to deliver, feeling that I'm failing to deliver what is expected to me. And in the end, how we got out of it is again sitting down and talk about what bothers him with me, and with my working style, and what bothers me with his working style, and where he needs support, or where he needs to speak up earlier, or where I need support or I need to speak up earlier. That's how we overcame it. But that was a tough time. I remember like panic attacks, um, extended project. You always try to fake it till you make it. Tell us the client, of course. Turned out to be a great project in the end, but that was a tough time, and that was something that definitely taught me a lot of lessons, on how to keep going and keep failing and learning from it.
So you guys were able to work through it together then
We were
after
able
that
to work through it,
conversation?
yeah. Again, very high price to it. Let's put it like this. It was
Sure.
a couple of very, very rough, dark weeks with very long nights and very early mornings. But we're able to work through it. I think that's what failure is about. Yes, you fail, but you in the end just get up and keep working through it. And that's true for both private failures, professional failures, any failure in when it comes down to it.
100%. Absolutely. One last question for you. So, if you could talk to your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give yourself?
Hmm. So when I was 20, I moved abroad, and that was, I think, the biggest game changer in my career and in my personal development, both privately and professionally. Um, and I would advise myself again, just go out there, be curious, explore the world. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, I would have done everything the same, as I did it, and I can just advise to everyone in that age, just go out there, see, explore the world around you, get a new perspective on things. I promise you, you can always come back home, by the way, but I will
Yeah.
promise you will see a lot of things differently, and you will have a much more accentuated view on a lot of topics that you didn't even think about before.
That's awesome advice, man. I think that a lot of more people should get out there and explore the
Oh
world
yeah,
for sure, man. Absolutely. No, that's great advice. Well, Clemens, thank you very much for being a guest here on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being the best part of the show. I really appreciate your time today.
thank you so much, Sven.